Hello friends, today we're going to be discussing tuning, okay? So, the first thing we need to know about tuning is that there's two ways we can tune the violin. We can tune with the fine tuners, which are located down here on the tailpiece, or we can tune with the pegs, which are up here on the scroll. So, in general, we want to try to use the fine tuners, okay, because they're just a little bit easier to deal with, and there's less likelihood of breaking a string when we're using the fine tuners. If you don't have fine tuners and you have to use the pegs, that's fine. I'm going to be going over that in this video as well, but you just have to be a little bit more careful, okay, because there's a bigger chance that you could break a string. So for me, I think it's super important that you're actually playing the note while you're tuning. Okay, so this can kind of feel a little bit uncomfortable at first. So here are some ways to practice it. So it's just by placing your hand right here on the fine tuners while you play open strings. So I'm not doing anything, I'm just getting used to this kind of weird position, okay? Or if you're going to be tuning with the pegs, you can just practice something like this. Okay, you can practice that on all four strings. Because when we're tuning and we're just like plucking the string, we're actually not getting an accurate representation of the pitch. So it is important that you're actually playing the string while you're tuning, okay? So I have downloaded a tuner onto my phone because I usually have like a regular tuner, but I know a lot of you guys would prefer to just use an app on your phone. So I have gotten the Piascore Tuner Lite. Looks like that. I literally just searched tuner. Here, let me show you guys. And it's this one. Okay, so that's the one I have. So first things first, you want to make sure that it says 440 right there. You can see it says faintly 440. Okay, so now I have my tuner. I know which devices I'm going to use. We also need to know the names of the strings. Highest string is E, this one. Next string is A. This is D. And this is G. Okay, we also need to be familiar with the musical alphabet. So the musical alphabet goes from A to G. Once we get to G, we start over again at A. So if you're playing your A string and it says G on your tuner, you know that you're way too low. Okay, and if it says B, you're too high. For your E string, if it says D, you're too low. And if it says F, you're too high. For your D string, if it says C, you're too low, and E, you're too high. And then for your G string, if it says F, you're too low, and then A, you're too high. Okay, so there's two different ways that you can tune with this app. So the first would be just to play your string. So if I just play A right here, okay, you should see three lights. You should see like kind of a flat symbol, kind of like a B. That means it's too low. Then the green in the middle means you're right on. And then the sharp on the other side kind of looks like a hashtag. That means that you're too high. And then I play my A string. I have my hand ready to go. So it says it's too high, so I'm going to move my fine tuner to the left. Okay, until it's right in the middle. I just moved my fine tuner very slowly while I kept playing my string. Okay, now let's do my E string. So it says it's too high, so I'm going to move my fine tuner to the left. Perfect. Now let's go to D string. Ooh, okay, so I play that and it says C. Okay, so I know it's 2. it's too low, right? So if the letter is preceding it in the alphabet, it's too low. And if it's above it in the musical alphabet, then it's too high. That means I'm gonna have to move my fine tuner to the right because I need it to get higher a lot. So here we go. There we go, okay? And then let's do my G string. Okay, so it says it's an F, which means it's too low. So I'm gonna use my peg this time. So to move the string higher, I turn the peg away from me. To move it lower, I turn it towards me. When you're moving the peg, make sure to press in to the instrument a little bit, just so the peg doesn't slip until the string doesn't get super loose, okay? And I'm just gonna move it in very, very small increments while I pluck, okay? Oh, look, it says G, okay? So, it says I'm too low, so I'm gonna move my fine tuner to the right. There we go. Okay, so, if you start moving your fine tuner and it's going the other way, that's totally fine. Just make sure to turn your fine tuner the opposite way, and then it should be you should be back on track. So the second way you can tune is by pitch matching, okay? So I don't necessarily recommend this way for beginners because it can be kind of hard to hear exactly when you've matched the pitch and when you haven't. So if I go on my tuner and I click this button right here, you can hear that A, right? And then I play my A until it matches. Okay, this is a little bit difficult because you have to determine which way. Is it too high or too low? It doesn't actually tell you. So that can be a little bit more difficult for that reason, and I don't really recommend tuning this way, but it is another option. So that is about it. So a couple takeaways. Practice with your hand just on the fine tuners and playing your open strings because it's important to actually be playing the note while you tune rather than just plucking it, okay? It's preferred that you tune with your fine tuners, these guys, because there's less likelihood of the string breaking, okay? If you want the pitch to get higher, you turn it to the right, and if you want the pitch to get lower, you turn it to the left. If you start turning the the fine tuner and you realize that it's going the opposite way, not the way you want it to, that's totally fine, just turn it back. If you have to use the pegs, be very, very careful. Use turn them in very, very small increments and make sure that you press in to the instrument while you are tuning. So, last thing, your fine tuner ever gets so close to the tailpiece, like my G string fine tuner is, that you can't turn it anymore, this is what you have to do. So I'm going to turn my fine tuner to the left. Gonna make it get lower and make it come out. So I have a lot more room to work with now. Then I'm gonna turn my peg. So I'm gonna turn it away from me so the string gets higher. So I have it kind of in the right range and I go to my fine tuner. Okay, so that's what happens. That's what you need to do if your fine tuner ever gets really close to the tailpiece. Okay, so that is how you tune your violin. That's everything you need to know. Please let me know if you have any questions at all.